Dovetail Games, the company that seemingly refuses to fix existing problems in the games that they've already released, and instead try to dump another unnecessary sequel on us while abandoning the previous iteration. In this video, I'm presenting my brutally honest thoughts on the announcement of Train Sim World 4. Fanboys and other snowflakes be damned. Because another paid update with lackluster routes is exactly what the players want. Obvious sarcasm is obvious. I'm going to use a variety of background footage in this video, either from real life, Train Simulator Classic, or Train Sim World 3. Just a quick warning, I do swear occasionally, because it helps to convey the level of anger I'm feeling after seeing confirmation of TSW4's release. You're really testing my patience, Dovetail, and I dare say the same goes for a lot of other people in this community. It's almost as if you see us as nothing more than paid beta testers. So, on August 22nd, 2023, Dovetail dumped a whole load of news and announcements on us, and I'm really starting to question just what the hell these greedy hacks are playing at. I mean, Train Sim World 3 isn't even 1 year old for fuck's sake, and it still has issues that need fixing. It's the usual story with the new sequel. It includes some new routes and new gameplay features and new core updates, but why we can't get those core updates unless we buy the same game again is anyone's guess. For the most part, I will only be discussing the new routes that they've announced, since I have little knowledge on or interest in the free roam or route editor features. But I will say that it's a good thing they're finally adding a route editor for PC players. Their choice of British route is East Coast Main Line Peterborough to Doncaster, complete with the Hitachi-built Class 801 and LNER colours. Why they chose this section in particular is anyone's guess. From what I gather, the East Coast Main Line was a highly requested route, and to some extent, I am looking forward to driving an IET in TSW since I do like that family of trains. But I question the lack of a Grand Central Class 180, Class 91 with Mark IV coaches, Lumo Class 803, Hull Trains Class 802, or even just the LNER Class 800. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't at least get the electro-diesel variant of the Class 801 as well. The route is going to look very boring when you're only seeing 801s. And even then, apparently it's only one variant of the 801, from what I've heard. As an apparent bonus, we're also getting the sole-surviving LNER A3 Class 462 steam locomotive as an add-on for this ECML route. Because we definitely need yet another British Railways era steam locomotive in the game. See my Spirit of Steam and Peak Forest reviews for why I'm tired of Dovetail only acknowledging the existence of the BR era on the rare occasions when they actually remember that steam locomotives exist. This isn't Dovetail's fault, but I don't like how the real locomotive was restored in the boring and overused British Railways livery. She should go back to LNER Apple Green. Flying Scotsman will also come with a support coach and a rake of Mark II coaches. Although, based on what I've seen in the preview screenshots, they look like reskins of the existing Mark IIA or Mark IIC coaches that we already have with the Manchester to Leeds route, instead of the later Mark IID or Mark IIF variants. I was very disappointed to find out that we're getting the Peterborough to Doncaster section. London King's Cross to Peterborough would have been a better choice, as that would mean potential for the Hertford Loop and Moorgate branches to be added, along with the Class 387-1, 700-1, and 717 electric multiple units. Instead of a German route, we're actually getting Austria this time. To be honest, I have little knowledge or interest in the Austrian railways outside of the Semmeringbahn, but it's good to break from the usual UK, US and Germany trio. This route in TSW is significant because it's the first international route in the game, although only a small section of it is actually in Germany. The Austrian route that Dovetail are making is called S-Bahn Vorarlberg, and it runs for 44 miles, or 70 kilometers, from Lindau Hauptbahnhof to Bludenz, crossing the border shortly after leaving Lindau Hauptbahnhof. You also get a short branch to Lustenau, a station that's very close to the Austrian-Swiss border. And in total, there's an impressive 28 stations on this route. Besides a new country, this add-on will also bring a new train company to TSW in the form of ÖBB, short for Österreichische Bundesbahnen, or Austrian Federal Railways in English. The included motive power is the ÖBB 4024 Talent 1 EMU, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the predecessor to the Bombardier Talent 2, of which 3 variants currently exist in TSW. To me, the ÖBB 4024 looks like a hybrid of the BR442 Talent 2 and BR642 diesel multiple unit. In all honesty, I'm looking forward to this one, mainly because it's a new country that we haven't yet seen in TSW, not to mention Lindau Hauptbahnhof, now called Lindau Insel, and its unusual location on a small island. Based on the preview screenshots I've seen, the mountainous scenery reminds me of the main Spessartbahn, and indeed, the Semmeringbahn in TS Classic. I am both confused and annoyed at the choice of American route. Why did Dovetail think the Antelope Valley Line was a good idea? Who asked for this? And why couldn't the devs have chosen a busier Metrolink line like Orange County or San Bernardino? The latter would make sense, since San Bernardino is already featured on the Cajon Pass route. Come to think of it, I wouldn't be surprised if having the opportunity to lazily reuse scenic assets from Cajon Pass was the only reason Dovetail chose the Antelope Valley Line in particular. For context, the Antelope Valley Line runs for 76 miles, or 120 kilometers, from Los Angeles Union Station to Lancaster, with 11 intermediate stops. This add-on will include the questionable-looking EMD F125 diesel locomotive and fugly Hyundai Rotem coaches. Sadly not the Bombardier bi-levels that are still in the old livery, which are often used in the same consist as the Hyundai Rotem stock in real life. Considering that we've already got the MPI MP36PH-3C and bi-level coaches in the game, I'm confused as to why Dovetail aren't just reskinning that locomotive and coaches and bundling them with the Antelope Valley, unless they plan to do that for a future Loco add-on bundle or something. While I generally like US commuter trains, I just don't understand why Dovetail chose to make the fucking Antelope Valley Line. The issues I have with this decision are A. The route is too long, B. It will take a minimum of 2 hours and 5 minutes to complete, and C. The schedule is too Spartan. How many people would really have the patience to drive a virtual train on a journey as long as 2 hours? Oh, by the way, that's something Dovetail haven't mentioned in the promotional material. It's almost as if they're trying a bait-and-switch routine with people who are unfamiliar with this line. This is the current weekday timetable for the Antelope Valley Line. Notice anything strange about it? Yeah, the fucking route only has 11 trains a day in each direction, and some of them start at or only go as far as Via Princesa. Who thought it was a good idea to bring this line to TSW 4? I really want to know. Oh, and I might as well also mention the new German locomotive that Dovetail are making. This is the BR193, part of the Siemens Vectron family, in the grey and blue rail pool livery. It will be the second time we've seen this livery in TSW, as it already appears on the BR185-2 that comes with the Dresden to Chemnitz route. And speaking of Dresden, we're also getting a big update to the Nachwerke Dresden pack, which is one of the best German routes in the game because of its non-linear nature and incredibly wide variety of services. Dovetail has said that this update will include all the new TSW4 features, plus a new timetable compatible with the Vectron, volumetric skies, whatever that means, and TOD4 lighting. I will be absolutely livid if they still don't take the hint and fix the appalling amount of missing overhead wires. Meanwhile, the Vectron locomotive will also layer onto the previously mentioned Austrian route, which apparently is also going to include yet another rehash of the overused Deutsche Bahn BR185-2. I also want to mention Just Trains' upcoming TSW4 add-on as well, because I think I'm going to like this one. It's Preston to Blackpool North, Blackpool South and Ormskirk, complete with the Class 142 Pacer. From what I gather, this route is set in 1986, and you'll also be able to use the rolling stock from existing British Rail era add-ons on JT's route, such as the Class 08 and Class 47. And I reckon they're onto a winner with this pack, because it's a non-linear route that serves an iconic seaside resort with a Marmite train. Although I've never been on a Pacer in real life, I still like the Class 142, and the Pacer series as a whole, and I hope this model will layer onto the Tees Valley Line as well, because that route is in dire need of a Pacer. As one might expect from Dovetail at this point, they're pretty much trying to milk our wallets dry with this TSW4 shit, even after they've already been milked to the point where they're well past bone dry. The prices for the different TSW4 bundles are as follows. $71.49 NZD for the standard edition, which only includes the base game plus the 3 core routes. That's S-Bahn Vorarlberg, Peterborough to Doncaster, and the Antelope Valley Line. 100 New Zealand dollars for the deluxe edition. Christ on a bike, and I thought Hornby's new P2 was the definition of overpriced. The deluxe edition includes the core routes plus the LNER A3 Pacific, the BR193 Vectron, and the upgraded Nachwerke Dresden. So essentially you'll be buying the Dresden route twice if you already have it, but you also want the A3 and BR193 as well. Those two locomotives are exclusive to the deluxe and special editions. Way to go, Dovetail. Nothing like putting these locomotives behind specific paywalls. I see absolutely no issues with that idea whatsoever. 158 New Zealand dollars for the so-called special edition, and the devs want you to think that it's somehow better than the deluxe edition, because they've said it will include 4 bonus routes. They haven't announced what these routes will be, but there's a good chance it'll all just be routes that already exist in the game. Seems quite a pointless idea to get the special edition if you ask me, unless you're new to TSW and have no idea of just how scummy DTG's business practices are. To those people, I say, get out while you still can. I just quoted the full price for the 3 bundles, but Dovetail are offering a loyalty discount of 25% off for people who already have TSW3. I've seen at least one person label TSW4 as a scam, and I'm inclined to agree. And this is the stupid part. I'm still considering trying it out because A, the Austrian route looks fairly interesting, and B, I know that there are people who want to hear my thoughts on this stuff, assuming you can tolerate someone from the smaller land down under screaming his head off. A disappointing trend I noticed with all 3 of the core routes is that they only include one form of motive power each, meaning the default rail scene will look very boring and repetitive, especially the Antelope Valley Line and S-Bahn Vorarlberg. While they're all new to TSW, I think that the UK and US routes are very disappointing choices solely because of the specific sections Dovetail chose to replicate. Of course they just had to fuck up and choose the wrong section of the highly requested ECML. Or maybe they thought that the Peterborough to London section was one for the too hard basket. I'm sure their baffling decision will go swimmingly with the player base. The Antelope Valley Line is a fucking baffling choice, not just because the last core US route was also in California, but also because of its Spartan timetable and incredibly long journey times. And from what I saw in the first preview screenshots, they all seem to have very poor weather and lighting. It's almost as if Dovetail were trying to hide the piss poor scenery, then spit out words to the effect of, "It's only work in progress, so shut your half-wit pie holes!" Overall, I think the silly sods from Chatham made a rather stupid decision to repackage and resell Train Sim World for the third time now. As if their insistence on milking our wallets well past the point of being bone dry wasn't bad enough, they still leave bugs and other problems present in the existing sequels that just get left to rot while they focus on the quote-unquote new game for another year or two. Then it'll get dropped while the devs move on to another sequel while still leaving unfixed problems in the previous iteration. Unless enough people vote with their wallets to finally end this terrible business model.